Trump's key Gulf ally could soon be facing a dangerous two-front security nightmare as fresh threats emerge from multiple directions. Are Iran's regional proxies preparing to launch coordinated attacks from both the north and the south against Saudi Arabia? Could Saudi Arabia's oil facilities, airports, and strategic ports become the next major targets in a widening regional conflict? Can Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and his allies stop the next wave of potentially deadly attacks before they strike? Yemeni rebels have already struck southern Saudi Arabia, leaving 11 civilians wounded and raising fears of further escalation.
The results of the operation were as follows: killing and injuring hundreds of the Saudi enemy's mercenaries, the destroying and burning a large number of the Saudis.
The kingdom is now warning that even bigger attacks by Iran-backed groups could be on the horizon. Is diplomacy now under threat as Riyadh warns that hostile actors may be trying to sabotage ongoing regional peace efforts? Saudi Arabia is reportedly expecting imminent attacks from both its northern and southern borders, according to a Reuters report citing regional security assessments. Intelligence shared by Saudi Arabia, the United States and other Gulf nations has reportedly warned of possible coordinated attacks against the kingdom in the near future. The reported attacks could be carried out by Yemen's Houthis and Iraqi militias believed to be backed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, according to officials. A Saudi official said potential targets could include civilian infrastructure such as energy facilities, commercial ports, and major airports across the kingdom. Riyadh's decade-long conflict with the Houthis has increasingly become intertwined with the broader regional confrontation involving Iran and its allied groups. Houthi operations in the Red Sea have already disrupted shipping and affected Saudi oil export routes, adding to growing regional security concerns. Despite the security threats, a Saudi official said Riyadh continues to support de-escalation efforts and remains committed to pursuing a negotiated settlement with Iran. The official also said ongoing mediation efforts between Riyadh and Tehran appear to be moving in the right direction despite persistent regional tensions. Saudi Arabia believes the planned attacks could be intended to derail the diplomatic process and undermine efforts to reduce tensions across the region. Riyadh is now moving to strengthen defense and security cooperation with key regional partners as concerns over future attacks continue to grow. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan are expected to sign a new defense cooperation agreement during high-level meetings in the kingdom. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Shahbaz Sharif, arrived in Saudi Arabia on August 6 ahead of the anticipated trilateral security discussions. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is expected to arrive in Saudi Arabia on August 7 to participate in the strategic defense talks. Meanwhile, a Saudi official said military and security cooperation with the United States remains very high across all levels despite regional challenges. The official added that Riyadh is fully prepared to take all necessary measures to respond decisively to any future aggression against the kingdom. On August 6, Yemeni forces accused the Houthis of deliberately targeting multiple military positions across several key areas. Yemen's government-aligned military units said these attacks caused significant casualties along with heavy material damage to their positions. The 1st Emergency Division specifically confirmed that its own camps were among the multiple sites targeted during these attacks. Meanwhile, the Houthis claimed their attacks were specifically aimed at Saudi military deployments stationed inside Yemeni territory.
In its continued aggression and siege against our dear Yemeni people for nearly 12 years, the criminal Saudi enemy has observed large Saudi military buildups in their final stages, aimed at escalating the aggression against the liberated provinces and the Yemeni people to deter them from their stance on ending the unjust siege. Therefore, our armed forces conducted a large-scale and precise military operation targeting Saudi enemy troop concentrations in the areas of Al-Ruwayk, Al-Abr, Al-Thaniya, and other camps belonging to the so-called 1st and 3rd Emergency Divisions, using a large number of ballistic missiles and drones. The operation resulted in the following: the death and injury of hundreds of Saudi enemy mercenaries, the destruction and burning of a large number of Saudi enemy camps, troop concentrations, depots, and weapons in the Al-Wadiyah area in the east of the country. The destruction of a large number of military vehicles exists in the targeted camps. The Yemeni armed forces warned the criminal Saudi enemy against any act of aggression against our country and our people, and it will bear the consequences of any escalation. We advise those misled and deceived among our people to leave the Saudi enemy camps and return to their homes before it is too late. We assure our dear Yemeni people and all governorates that the armed forces are fully prepared to confront any escalation. We call upon all our people to remain vigilant and confront any Saudi aggression, and to strike Saudi troop concentrations wherever they may be. We will continue the siege for siege equation until the siege on our country is lifted.
These attacks followed earlier Yemeni security operations that were specifically aimed at dismantling Houthi smuggling networks across the region. Yemen's Saudi-backed government forces also separately targeted various armed groups along with several wanted suspects during this same period. These broader operations were primarily aimed at securing key roads and territories currently under government control. Both the 1st Military Region and the nation's shield forces actively took part in carrying out these coordinated security operations. These developments unfolded even as the Houthis simultaneously expanded their own operations toward the northern Red Sea region. Houthis announced they will expand attacks on Saudi shipping into the northern Red Sea, marking a major escalation in their maritime campaign against Riyadh's energy exports. Houthi spokesman Yahya Saree said on August 5 that the new phase is intended to stop Saudi oil tankers from reaching the Suez Canal through northern Red Sea routes. Saree claimed Houthi forces struck the Saudi oil tanker Wafar off Yanbu with ballistic missiles, though Saudi authorities have not confirmed the reported attack.
The Yemeni Houthi armed forces, by the grace of God, managed to target the Saudi oil tanker Wafar in the northern Red Sea off the region of Yanbu using a number of ballistic missiles. By the grace of God, the hit was precise. With this targeting, the total number of vessels targeted by our forces has reached 8 Saudi oil tankers since the start of the naval blockade on July 22nd. Meanwhile, the total number of vessels that were intercepted and forced to retreat and turn back in the Red Sea and Arabian Sea has reached 29 Saudi oil tankers. Following the success of the Yemeni Houthi armed forces, by God's grace, in tightening the naval blockade against the Saudi enemy from Bab el-Mandeb in the southern Red Sea, the Saudi enemy moved to reroute its oil tankers toward the northern Red Sea. Therefore, the Yemeni Houthi armed forces affirmed that their operations will continue and escalate in targeting Saudi oil tankers in the northern Red Sea to close all passages to them and prevent them from passing, in order to firmly establish the blockade for blockade equation, regardless of the results and consequences.
Experts have warned that any disruption near the Suez Canal could place fresh pressure on global energy supplies and international shipping routes already facing instability. Houthi forces also claimed they attacked the Saudi-linked tanker Daisy in the Gulf of Aden as part of what they described as a wider retaliatory maritime campaign. Yahya Saree said the vessel was hit, sustained damage, and was forced to turn back, although there has been no independent confirmation of the reported strike. The Houthis said their naval units are actively tracking Saudi oil tankers operating across both the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden as part of the blockade. The group vowed that no Saudi oil tanker would be allowed to pass until what it calls the blockade imposed on Yemen is completely lifted. The latest escalation followed Sana's July 20th announcement of a maritime blockade targeting Saudi Arabia in response to the years-long conflict and restrictions on Yemen.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.